What's up guys, Freddy here. Today I'll be showing you guys how to turn this picture into this one. So the technique that I use is called 2.5D animations. The programs that I use are Photoshop and After Effects. You guys can download some of the files I use in the link in the description below so you guys can follow along with me. So in my case, I was trying to animate cards. So I took a picture of me throwing the card, and I also took multiple pictures of the card in the same place and with the same lighting using a chopstick so I could mask it out easier with Photoshop. So let's go hop into Photoshop first and mask our cards. So once you've imported your picture into Photoshop, normally I would like to duplicate it and make this invincible. Secondly, I would zoom in a bit. So the thing that I use normally is the quick selection tool. And I would just draw around the card that I want to be selected. Make sure that everything is selected. Then I press Command X to cut it off and Command V to paste it on a new layer. Now I don't need this background layer anymore. I can delete it. So now you have this card, and now you can do this with as many cards as possible. I already have some made here from my previous edit, and I'm gonna use these ones again. So once you finish selecting your card, you want to save the file as a PSD. So you can save it somewhere you can find and hit on save. Perfect. Now you can close Photoshop and go ahead and open After Effects. Okay, so once you have After Effects opened up, you want to create a new composition. I'm doing this composition in 1080 and 1920. We can name this whatever you want. I'm gonna stay with composition 1. Click OK. And now you want to double click on the project bar, import your backdrop, and double click again, import your cards PSD. These are the Photoshop files that we edited before. Now you want to click Editable Layer Styles. Click OK. Now you want to double click on composition 1. Drop the backdrop portrait JPEG down into the composition. You can click on the backdrop portrait in the composition, click S and scale it down to around 32%. And next you want to pick the card that you want to use. I'm gonna start animating with the Queen card. I'm gonna put it on top of the backdrop portrait. We can close this. And I want to rename it into Queen, so I know what card it is when I'm animating. Now we want to make sure that they're both on a 3D layer. So you can click on these two things here. And now you want to right click on the composition, New Camera. And these settings should be fine. So now you have, if you don't have this view, you can go click down here, click to view horizontal. Now you have this. So now we have this Queen card, which we can animate freely. You can make it go forward and back, left, right, up and down, just like that. Same goes with the portrait. We can put it backwards, forwards, and whatnot. So firstly, I want to animate the portrait. So I'm gonna have the portrait to animate by zooming out like that, which means I want to start in a zooming in position. Then I click on the portrait, hit P, that is for position, and hit the keyframe button on the start of your timeline. Now you want to drag it to around 4 seconds, and you want to move the portrait back a little bit. So let's see how that looks. All right, that looks good. So now secondly, we want to animate the card, the Queen card. So you want to go back to your timeline. Make sure your Queen is above the background layer. You want to position it correctly. Make sure that the size of the cards are also the same. Otherwise, you can press S here and scale it up and down a bit. Okay, now you can press S again to close. And then you need to hit P for the position. Add a keyframe where you want it to start. I think I want to start it somewhere, maybe somewhere there. And you want to go to the 4-second mark again and animate it forward. Something like that, and a little bit down. So let's see how it looks. I think the animation's a little bit too far. I'm gonna go to the second keyframe and push it back a bit, so it's a bit more smoother. Looking good for now. So secondly, you can highlight the keyframes by dragging and clicking and hit F9 to get the easy ease keyframes. Go to the graph editor. You want to click on one of these points and drag it all in. Now you click the second graph and click on the yellow point again and drag it all in. Now this will change the speed of the animation. In my opinion, it looks much better like this. It gives it more impact. I would even like to drag this card a bit further out. So let's see how it goes. Now you need to do the same thing for practically every other card. Let's start with the 5 card. Put it above the queen layer. Rename to 5. Which now we have here. Now make sure it's also a 3D layer and pull it above, pull it forward. Again, if the size does not fit from the beginning, let's see where it is. You can always press S on the timeline here and scale it down a bit till you get the right size. So make sure in the beginning of the timeline, hit S to close it down and P to enter the position. Now you can hit the keyframe in the beginning and see where you want your card to end up. I would like to always have it follow behind the queen. Or actually, I think in this case, I would like for it to be above the queen. Goes down. Something like that. And now you can click and drag. Hit F9 again. Go to the graph editor and drag this line again. So you have something like that. Okay, in my opinion, the card did not shoot perfectly. So I'm gonna click on the layer again, make sure I'm in the beginning of the timeline. Gonna move it a bit further and maybe turn the scale a bit down. See how it is? Yeah, that looks much better already. Now I'm gonna do it for the other cards in a speed up manner, so you guys don't have to see me do the same thing over and over again. Actually, now I'm gonna move the 2 other layers a bit more to the left side because I need more space. So I'm gonna go to the end of the keyframe and drag it a little bit. So I'll do the same with the 5. Something like that. Now I have this. And now as you can see, the Joker card is a little bit dark. So what we could do is go to Effects and Presets. Look for Lumetri color and drag it to the layer. You have the basic corrections function. You can add a little exposure to make it look more the same. Now you can go back to your project file and card layers and choose your next card. I'm gonna use this 7 card. Don't forget to rename your layers so you can find it easier. This is number 7. Make sure it's a 3D layer. Drag it forward. Now place it where you want it to be. Go back to the beginning of the timeline, hit P and click the keyframe. for the beginning position. Now go to 4 seconds, drag it out. Perfect, now do the same. And so there you have it, the 2.5D animation. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you learned something from it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up as it really helps us a lot. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.